Peace, wellness, oneness. C Chambers, Omega Sun, of the Wealth Chambers experience. Peace to the grand world. How y'all doing? I don't do too much of this, I like to wish you and yours great peace, power, and prosperity in this season. I actually want to talk about the Kevin Hart situation. It's a slippery slope, especially for the matter of free speech. So you come on in, we're going to talk about that matter of free speech. I know it's early, I just want to get this off my chest because it's bad enough that we're getting censored by playing certain music. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story, man. Not being able to play the music that you enjoy, that other people enjoy. You can actually commune around the music. I'm sure there's a fair use process, but man, you play a snippet of somebody's music and they go off on you, man, and they'll track you for a long time. So, all right, with the Kevin Hart situation, do you feel that a person should still, do you feel that a person should still be totally apologetic to something that may have happened 10 years ago? In error and was already apologized for. Like, he covered it as soon as it came out, and then several times over about these tweets that offended the LGBTQ community. Just recently, he was picked to be the host of the Oscars for the year coming, and somebody surfaced with these tweets, and Thursday they were trying to delete as many as possible. Mind you, these tweets are from 10 years ago. This wasn't at the height of his career. This is him still working, and they gave him an ultimatum that you apologize now for those, or you're not to host the show. This is reported in Variety magazine, as well as a couple of other Variety online magazine and a couple of other publications and news outlets, right? My thing is a slippery slope, because when it comes to the last line of free speech here in the States, comedy is it. From way back in the days of comedians, they would say something that would be controversial, on edge, uncomfortable for people, and even offensive. But it was known that comedians come at that level to basically bring awareness to a certain topic. Now, when it comes to black comedy, is a certain nuance that we have to understand, especially for those that's coming up. And if you've been to comedy shows, you know what I'm talking about with the material that's being used. And the question is that beneficial for us or detrimental for us? And then there's, when you pull back the scope, the type of comedy that is accepted in different groups. Like a lot of comedy coming from the urban level. I don't like to say those words. Those labels are so misnomers. But from that level, from the street level, it's more graphic. It will have things that will be termed offensive material, street related themes, a lot of animation. We're animated people. And then people that do more cerebral type of comedy, we get judged a certain way in that realm. And then vice versa. People that do street comedy in the cerebral realm, they'll be accepted, for the buffoonery of it. But it takes a specific type of personality to dig deep and really glean what the message is about. What am I saying about this? The free speech that comedy used to give is now being the goalpost is being moved. If you understand what I'm saying, and the fact that they wanted him to apologize again after doing it and addressing it several times over is a little bit unfair. Why? Because, during the years in your growth, you actually get sensitivity classes and learn new things and become wiser on how to build with different communities. And yeah, at first you may approach things with a particular insensitivity because you don't know. It's ignorance. But once you know more about, the culture and, how it affects people and things of that nature, you get more knowledge on the situation and you try to handle it with a little more compassion and empathy. It may not be your cup of tea, but nonetheless, you do what you can. So, you try to coexist the best way you know how. I mean, you're going to have to in this level right now, in this playing field where we are right now. So to do that and give a person an ultimatum, it's like a leverage push. It's like, all right, political correctness is great in certain atmospheres of conversation and to basically address certain matters. Yes, you have to have tact. Peace. We're talking about the Kevin Hart situation, the slippery slope of censorship. All right? And whether was it fair to have him apologize now for things he apologized 10 years back and addressed several times over? It's a slippery slope, Oh, man. I want to go into other artists, like maybe George Carlin. Perfect example. He laid out a lot of great cerebral topics that, are, peace, that maybe were insensitive to a lot of people and a lot of groups, and also pushed the envelope to those that fully, immerse themselves in the status quo. He gave you something to walk away with and bucking the system. And it's only till like now that people really appreciated, the works that he did and what he was talking about in George Carlin. Say if he was picked to do the Oscars, you think, rest his soul, do you think that this would have came up for him? Like, what they would have said, George Carlin, we know what you did in 1977, you're going to have to apologize for this. Now, I'm trying my best not to make this a racist thing, a racial thing, or what have you. It's not really about that. It's the power and influence of speech and how it's been watered down now, how it's the censorship is becoming to boil over to certain parts of not just entertainment, but of just classic talk to bring out, to address a matter. No, we don't want to be insensitive to other people's plights and what they go through. That's not the thing. This happened before, and you're telling me to apologize again. There's certain apologies that should be delivered to a specific community that have not been made. I can't see your message right now, young lady, but I will get to it. Peace. And I thank you for joining. But, understand that this is a slippery slope. And there's other people that get away with 10,000 times much worse a message. They never have to apologize. Now, as far as Kevin Hart goes, I like some of his work. I think he's a very talented guy. He's humorous. He's naturally funny. He's that guy that will be on your block and kick in some natural jokes. But the come up is real, especially, like I said, with black comedians. The comedy situation, even though you could be a cerebral comedian, you had to come from a more carnal stance. You have to show some street flair. And this is where, our self-censorship started to come into play, because there were people that were saying some of the most ruggedest, nastiest things you can ever think of, just to up one another comedian. What they would do to a woman, this, suck on this and all that. And that became like a certain genre of comedians' bodies of work. They were known for this. You know what I'm saying? And then the females go twice as hard than the guys because they're not getting the shine they supposedly got, just by using natural talent. A lot of the cerebral part of the game has been taken out. So far and few between, you'll find a nice comedian in the black community that was able to, smooth it over, do both. There was sophisticated as some more talent. T.K. Kirkland, Mike Corleone, Lunel, she can go, any way. She's funny as hell. Monique, and still make the crowd rock. Of course, Chris Rock's, Dave Chappelle's. And when you find that balance, you try not to push the envelope too much either way. And it becomes difficult because then it gets to the point where your celebrity has grown and you're asked to do certain things to solidify that milestone. So you want to do a movie, you get a script. I'll say about 85% of the time the movie is buffoonish. I'm keeping it 100. The movie is some buffoon stuff, or it's one of those feel-good holiday movies. You know what I'm saying? Or one of those movies that with the family values of just that community. You'll rarely see one of those type of comedians just move over into straight drama or even have a sitcom. So salute to the new comedians that's out there now that's doing like Just Hilarious, Rel, there's a couple others I was just like bugging out. But you got to respect the older ones like Sinbad, Martin Lawrence that set the pace and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And because you don't control that power medium, a lot of the imagery is not going to be conducive at 100% to the black experience. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody talks out the side of their neck and move their head around and, animates all that. This is why we support like a Blackish and TV shows like that, and when movies come out and you see all sides of success and great imagery of these people. So what do you mean by all this? What does it have to do with Kevin Hart? It has a lot to do with it because he's becoming his own man in the industry, a power player. He said that when he was going back and forth with Cat Williams about what a power player does and how they put other people in position. See, we ask for another Coming to America too, right? We ask for that. But it's going to take a form of discipline, a form of loyalty, a form of camaraderie that's going to come with people being cerebral and funny as hell at the same time. And it's going to bring up topics that may be sensitive to people in the same community. And this is what comedy does. It addresses that. And they caught him, tweets are very important. Your gram posts are very important. Your Facebook posts and messages are very important. This is like they'll use it. And when I say they, anybody that has an agenda against a movement that you're trying to do will use it as leverage if it's not in proper context. And that's kind of insidious. Pardon me. I don't like stuff like that. That's just really petty and just It's bad character, especially when it was addressed several times. You know, especially when I'm sure he put himself in a position where he's able to give back to community that they feel offended. You know, he feel offended. You know what I'm saying? It affects your legacy. Is this a check? Did they want to check him, or did they even want him to be the host at all? Those things come into question. It looks fishy now. So if you're a comedian, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what, you know, nationality, ethnicity, whatever, it's an attack on your art form. Why? Because we said, like I stated before, comedy is basically the last line of defense for the protection of free speech in context, to bring up matters that may be sensitive to us, but we can laugh at it and then bring out a new focus on it, bring out some more empathy about it, bring up a conversation that is constructive and not develop more pejoratives about it or negative stereotypes. This is what comedy does. It brings people to the table. When I grew up, there was and I know a lot of people heard these things, the white man, black man, Chinese man, or the guy walked into the bar, all those type of jokes. We sit and we laugh and we really thought nothing of it. Try that today. Outside your comfort zone. You'll get some people that, they'll go with it because they're from the old school or they heard that before. It's looking bad. That's looking bad. It's looking bad. It's looking like people are not grown up. Come on, y'all. Come on. You can do better than that. That's all I'm saying. That's my words. I want to know what your thoughts are. Inbox me, DM me what your thoughts are. I want to see what everybody else thinks. Thank you for listening, looking. Peace, wellness, and oneness to you and yours. Check the link in the bio and all that. Peace.